All right, so backtracking back to the Bobby Portis stuff, this is where the day started, basically. The NBA suspended Bobby Portis for 25 games for violating the league's anti-drug policy, sources tell ESPN. So everything I know about this is that he basically took a pain medication, and it wasn't exactly what he thought it was in terms of different medications. And the assistant that he had got him mixed up. He took the wrong one of which is banned as part of the anti-drug policy for the NBA. And as a result, he got 25 games slapped on. I think it's a mandatory 25 games as well. I don't think that they vary that. It's basically if you got caught with anything that you're not supposed to have, taking anything you're not supposed to have taken, then you're just going to get the 25 games, which is obviously pretty unfortunate in his case. And the Bucks, I believe, have 29 games left. He'll miss 25 of the remaining 29. They are, I believe, the 5th seed currently, and they are going to be trying to make a push. And you definitely don't want to see this if you're the Bucks. And let's get a little bit of more elaboration here. So there was a post from the agent earlier today. I'm devastated for Bobby right now because he made an honest mistake, and the ramifications of it are incredibly significant. By the way, also, yeah, he will be losing that money, of course. It's pretty brutal. Bobby unintentionally took a pain medication called tramadol, thinking he was taking a pain medication called Toradol. Toradol is an approved pain medication that he has used previously and that teams and players use for pain and inflammation at times. Tramadol, however, is not an approved pain medication and was just recently added to the banned substance list this past spring. Interesting. The tramadol pill he took came from an assistant of his with a valid prescription for the painkiller, which he mistakenly told Bobby was Toradol. Oh, man, assistant really set him up here. This was, again, an honest mistake, and that was because the similarity in the names of the drugs and the fact they both serve a very similar purpose. They probably look identical, too. That's pretty brutal. Bobby was using this anti-inflammatory pain-reducing medication to deal with an elbow injury he had this past fall and believed he was taking Toradol to alleviate some pain in the preparation for that night's game. And he goes to talk about how Bobby is not a drug abuser. He's a great guy, all that stuff. We support the league's anti-drug policy and its purpose in having a fair, competitive, healthy landscape for our athletes as it relates to drugs of abuse, performance-enhancing issues, etc. Bobby is absolutely not a drug abuser. Bobby works tirelessly on increasing his performance in all natural, legal, healthy ways. But he made a mistake and took a pill that unknowingly he should not have. Today, in this instance, I am so deeply disappointed that the NBA chooses to interpret its policy so strictly, and that's the policy does not allow for a different result for an honest mistake with pure intentions. That last part is definitely where it's at. It's a lot of he said, she said. I mean, we just read a piece here from the agent, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. He is his agent, and I do believe this story. I don't refute it. But if you're the NBA, you can't really show leniency here because how many more of these will pop up, right? Then that is kind of unfortunate, right? But I do think that there should be a little bit of leeway because it was a pain medication if he's not abusing it, because that's a whole other topic. It's pretty easy for a lot of people to get addicted and start abusing these pain medications and stuff like that. That's a very widespread issue, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why this may have been listed as a banned substance in the NBA. I don't know if it had any actual performance enhancing. I'm not a master at that type of stuff, right? I don't know if it had any actual performance enhancing benefits other than just pain reduction. But you know, that's probably why. But regardless, it is unfortunate because if he was taking like an anabolic or something, that would be much more like, yeah, you need to for sure ban this guy, right? But that's pretty unfortunate. But I don't make the rules, but he's got to deal with the ramifications of it, of course, going forward. I did see a lot of responses, and just take this with a grain of salt. One thing I saw here was, and this was going viral, which is why I saw it. An ER doctor here, this is insane. Tramadol is the weakest painkiller we can prescribe. I often don't even bother because the effects are so mild. If it's banned, it's banned, but just shows how haphazard the NBA's policies are. He then relates it to Miles Bridges' situation, of course, as well, which was 30 games. But then there's a lot of replies in here, and they're saying it doesn't really matter as much if it's stronger. He could potentially be abusing it. So it's really unfortunate. But for Bobby, I do hope that he comes out on the other side of this stronger, comes back ready to play because the team will need him, and they should be trying to make a push to end the season. And if you're the Bucks, I mean, like I said, this is one of the things you couldn't have happen. You wouldn't want to have happen. But I do think they should be fine, right? I think they should be fine. All right, let's get into the chat here. Lakers in 5. Time to tank for the Spurs. Yes, we'll get back to Wemby. We haven't got there yet. LeBron is washed up. Okay. Kevin Knox signed with the Warriors. I did not see that. That's cool. 25 games is a little way too much. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think they typically do 25. Michael C. Lakers Nation will need to accept this season could be the cost of doing business if they continue to lose games. It will take 10 to 15 games for Luka. Yeah, the last game was one that was last night's game was one that they should not have lost. It will take time for these guys for Luka to get fully comfortable, get into playing shape, all that stuff. Because remember, he couldn't even do anything. He had a lower leg injury, right? I believe. So it'll take a while for him to get out there, but I think it will click eventually. Bobby's eyes scream, I'm an experienced druggie. Oh my God. Peds for 000 is crazy. Like I said, I don't know that he was taking anything that had any actual enhancing benefits, but it was listed as a painkiller. Maybe there's an alternative. A lot of times with medications, they'll design it for one thing and then find out it works really well for something else. That's how medications are just in general. How did Bobby get 5 less games for Bridges for that situation? I think, and this is not, I don't know, I'm not saying that I think this is what they should do or anything like that. I'm not educated enough on the Bridges situation because it's been a while. I need to look it back up. But I believe he missed a good chunk of games prior to that. He wasn't suspended, but he was out. So I think they probably considered that. I hope Luka locks in Rui and LBJ and Gabe Vincent. Yeah, it should be awesome. Tram is not only a mild opiate, it has SSRI properties, so it can definitely enhance your performance. Oh, that's interesting to know. Like I said, I had no idea. It's 100% a PED. Nice. Research studies funded by WADA have also confirmed the potential for tramadol to enhance sports performance. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys think that potentially could be something that was giving him some sort of benefit, then that would be that's not to say that's why he was taking it, but that would be the reason as to why it's on the ban list, right? The ban list is very vast, right? There's so many things on there, and the amount of things that they can help you with really, really varies, right? So if that's something that's on there for whatever reason, the NBA decided to put it on the list recently as last spring, then that makes sense. So anyway, let's move on. Next on the list here is the Warriors wanted to build a big three of LBJ, Steph, and KD by acquiring Durant and James at the deadline per Amico Hoop. So we kind of talked about this. It's kind of crazy because what would you have to do to put together the salary to even pull this off? There's nothing left there. You've got to leave basically Steph, and you've got to give up basically everything else, including Draymond, of course, just to make the salaries work. And they ultimately were able to pull off a big trade for Jimmy Butler. But that was after these two guys said they didn't want to go there also. So just kind of crazy. Do you think, here's a hypothetical. Do you think if they put these three together on this team, do you think they would have been able to come out on top this season? Let me know while I get in the chat. The eyes gave the whole story. Oh, my God. Wemby out for the season? Yes, we will get to that in a second. Lakers warming up for the Denver game? Okay, hopefully so. Derek will break down all the pharmacology. Oh, my God. I know Derek, bro. That's a good one. I know what you're talking about, bro. Pull up NBA Centel? No, I ain't pulling up Centel for nothing. Every time there's a Central post, I've got to just clarify: is it Centel or Central? I always got to look every time now. I've been scarred too many times, but